But it's a real pleasure and a privilege to be here on this Founders Day. Incidentally, the school was founded in 1977, and so was I. Your beautiful school and all of its bright, talented students are a real living tribute to the vision that has built this place. I'm sure you're exactly what the founders dreamed of, just without the cell phones, PlayStations, and Instagram. Someone once told me that the best speeches are both entertaining and short. Unfortunately for all of you, as my wife knows, I've never been very good at following good advice. So please make yourself comfortable, and if anyone is snoring next to you, please wake them up. But a few weeks ago, when Mr. Jacob Thomas kindly invited me to speak, I was convinced that it was a case of mistaken identity. Surely he meant to invite Nandan to inspire the next generation of digital entrepreneurs. If not, perhaps Nikhil Kamath. You have a whole bunch of young podcasters here. But he insisted that it was me that he wanted to invite. So if this goes badly, you know exactly who to blame. But please wait until the finish. Yesterday, my wife Sandhya and I took the toy train between Uti and Kuno. What a journey. Slow, scenic, a bit squeaky, but utterly delightful. It reminded me that sometimes the point isn't to get somewhere. It's simply to enjoy the ride. We saw tea gardens, there was mist, there were bridges to cross, some railway crossings where other people had to stop so that we could make our journey. Stops, multiple different stops where some people got on, some people got off. Fellow passengers we hadn't met before and perhaps will never meet again. Similarly, your march past, you started in one place, got back to that same place, got your shoes a little dirty, maybe socks a little wet, but it was that journey that made it special. And that's what I want to talk about today, what I've learned on my ride so far. I grew up in a loving home full of books and conversations, the kind where everyone has strong opinions on everything from politics to the best dog breeds, nuclear deals, to the colors of the walls in our home, and also the consistency of the chutney. And on other diverse topics like whether my IITian cousins who were emigrating to the US at that time were letting our country down. My school, St. Joseph's Boys High School in Bangalore, was a special one, very much like yours. It valued both academics and sport. I played multiple sports, hockey, football, cricket, anything I could get my hands on. I was best at tug of war, I think. But I went on to captain my school and state cricket teams. When it was clear to me that I certainly wouldn't be the next Rahul Dravid, who incidentally was also an alum of my school, I went on to career in law and went to the National Law School instead. Doing well at law school led to scholarships to Oxford and Harvard, two places that taught me that brilliance is everywhere, and also that it's okay to not know everything, but that's as long as others think that you do. I started my first job in California, like those sneaky cousins of mine. I worked hard, learned a lot, and eventually returned to India almost 20 years ago. I have worked for myself since on a variety of things related to sports in India. I highly recommend working for yourself if you enjoy freedom and being in a new mess every day. It builds character. Now, I'm not saying all of this as a list of my achievements. I'm saying it because I've realized something important. I started with privilege. A stable home, a good education, open doors, they gave me a head start. I've worked hard, yes, but I also always had the luxury of choice. And that's something many people never get. So the real questions become, how does one live with privilege? How do we balance opportunity with responsibility? For me, some of the best answers to these questions have come from sport. It is an area I work in and think about all the time. My job also gives me the chance to follow and meet some of the world's best athletes along the way. Watching excellence at work is something I find deeply and instinctively interesting and fulfilling. The best athletes are gifted, many more gifted than any of you can ever imagine. But none of them stop there. They work relentlessly. Abhinav Bindra is one of India's greatest athletes. He also happens to be a good friend of mine. And I once asked him in one of our conversations what his proudest moment was, fully expecting him to say that it was winning India's first Olympic gold medal in any sport, and his sport was shooting. But that is not what he chose. For him, it was a training day. One year, December 31st, the last day of the year. It was the last set of his last workout of that year, 100 squats. His coach told him, 2 more squats, Abhinav, finish it. He corrected her, no, it's 5 more to 100. That, he said, was his proudest moment, because it was a moment of absolute honesty with himself. A few days ago, I asked him if I could share this story with all of you. And in his old self-deprecating manner, he said, yes, please tell them that shooters also do squats. I know you have some wonderful shooters here who will actually live that life, but it's not just about standing in one place and taking aim at something. Stillness requires a huge amount of exercise. Another thing you can observe from elite athletes is respect for competition. Think of Federer and Nadal, 2 of the greatest tennis players who have ever played the game. 2 men who spent decades trying to destroy each other on court and then cried more at each other's retirements than after any of their defeats or victories. They understood something profound, that your rival is often your greatest teacher. Without them, you might not have become all that you have become. Ask yourself, whose retirement would make you cry? For me, it was some of my teachers, and some of those were tears of sadness. And finally, humility. To come back after losing, to come back even after winning everything there is to win, to wake up and still say, I can do better. You see it in the greatest athletes, Bolt, Messi, Ronaldo, Kohli, Alcaraz, Simone Biles, PV Sindhu. Name them, they have traveled this journey. That humility, the willingness to start again, is what makes champions. Honesty, respect, and humility. Those are 3 traits of authenticity. And authenticity, I believe, is the antidote to privilege. It keeps us grounded, grateful, and self-aware. Helps us to know the difference between what we've earned and what we've simply received. Privilege doesn't have to be a burden. It can be a springboard, a starting point that helps us jump higher and lift others with us. Before I conclude, I'd like to share 2 short reflections that have stayed with me. The first is from Steve Jobs, who wrote in an email to himself just a month before he died, I grow little of the food I eat. I speak a language I did not invent. I love and admire my species, living and dead, and am totally dependent on them for my life and well-being. Even at the end, he wasn't writing about success or legacy or his role in what many would call the greatest invention, the iPhone, recent invention. Instead, he wrote about connection. He saw his life as part of a larger web of human effort and impact. kindness to those we know and love, but also connection with those we don't. The second piece is from Jane Goodall, who in her final message, which you can watch in a show called Famous Last Words on Netflix, and I highly recommend you do, had this to say. Each and every one of you has a role to play. Your life matters. Even small actions, multiplied 1,000,000 times, can change the world. She reminds us of our own deep connection with the natural world, which we also populate along with the digital world. And that, I think, is the spirit of Founders Day. You are part of something bigger, a school and a community built on care, vision, and love, which is so apparent to me today. In many ways, this place is not just named Good Shepherd, but is your Good Shepherd, guiding you, watching over you, and sometimes nudging you back when you stray too far, like all of us will. You are fortunate to belong here. And one day, others will be fortunate to belong to the connections you nurture and the communities that you build. So enjoy your ride, be honest with yourself, respect others, even those you think are your rivals. Stay humble, whatever your results. And please, if you ever become as successful as Nandan or Nikhil Kamath, remember this speech and invite me back. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Jacob Thomas, and all of you at the school. For taking this leap of faith and inviting this Nandan and this Kamath. All complaints can go via email to Mr. Jacob Thomas. Thank you so much. Lovely meeting all of you.